Welcome to Attunement with Courtney O'Keefe. I'm your host, Courtney. Today, we are going to be talking about the throat chakra. This is our mini lesson. We're going to go over the overview of this chakra, imbalance, what imbalance looks and feels like in the throat. I will share some personal experience I have had with imbalance. We will talk about rituals and activities to help center this chakra. And we will then talk about what balance feels like and close out with some affirmations. So let's dive into it. Your throat chakra is the fifth chakra in our energetic system, the first of the upper three spiritual chakras. It connects less to our physical being and more to our higher consciousness. It is a bridge between our heart and our mind, also known as the doorway to the divine. It is located at the base of our throat. It helps us know our truth and authentically express it. And the themes associated with the throat are expression, truth, voice. When you open and balance the chakras below your throat, the root, sacral, solar plexus, and heart, it lays the foundation for authentic expression in our throat chakra. It rules over communication, our ability to voice our wants, relay our ideas, and express the creativity that we discover in our sacral chakra. It represents our integrity and moral compass. And the sense associated with the throat is hearing. The element is the ether, and the color represented by the throat chakra is light blue. So let's dive into what imbalance looks and feels like. An out of balance throat chakra results in challenges to authentic self-expression, but also makes us feel disconnected from our highest self or truth to begin with. An overactive throat chakra feels like your expression is out of control, talking too much or too loudly, talking over others without ever listening. Both speech, internal and externally, may be nonstop with minimal awareness. So a lot of critical, judgmental, and thoughtlessness applies to our intuition too. So if you're too busy talking, we won't be able to hear what our gut is trying to tell us. And an underactive chakra is simply the opposite of that. So being afraid to speak up, silenced by our fear of being judged, keeping our opinions to ourselves or unsure of what our opinions even are, telling people what they want to hear rather than what we truly mean. Inner truth may feel very elusive, or our creativity may feel blocked altogether with an underactive throat chakra. So some mental and emotional symptoms that go along with this, it can cause issues related to what we express and how we express it. Self-criticism, fear of judgment, which we talked about, lack of faith, inability to articulate your needs and desires, blocked creativity, unable to speak out, or feeling insecure about doing so, inauthentic communication with others, repression of emotions or dismissive of your own needs, and feelings of insignificance or invisibility go along with this. So some physical symptoms associated with imbalance. Again, I am not a doctor. These are things I just really enjoy reflecting on, and they're just good things to think about as you're on your healing journey. If you have experienced some of these things, obviously, if you are in severe pain in certain areas, go see a medical professional. But some of these imbalances can manifest in the throat, mouth, and ears, like sore throat, a clenched jaw or TMJ, problems with gums or teeth, neck pain, thyroid issues, or hearing problems. And now that we've gone over all of the imbalance, I want to share some personal stories that I've experienced with these, because I always think personal experience outweighs anything, and it's important to share our own personal stories. I personally, this is my belief, feel like women and oppressed, marginalized group of people have very closed off throat chakras, especially if you're a woman of color. The throat chakra can feel very blocked because of the patriarchal system that we live in. And we all have our own experiences with being silenced and forced to conform. And some of the things that has happened to me personally, because I can't speak for other people and their throat chakras, obviously, something about myself and my past experiences that I think have contributed to my blocked throat chakra is my sexual trauma. I feel it falls heavily under this, something that I kept secret for so long, not sharing this because of fear and shame and judgment, which I've talked about in a lot of past podcast episodes. But it feels very relevant for the throat chakra. And never being allowed to fully express myself as a child feels very tied to this, especially emotionally. When I was reflecting on this, I feel like my overactive examples are heavily tied to when I was experiencing PTSD in college surrounding my sexual trauma and when drinking was involved. Before my healing journey, I would literally always talk over people. I would think of the next thing I wanted to say while someone else was talking and without actively listening in a conversation. And it's interesting because I was actually self-aware of that when it was happening and then felt so much shame as I was doing it, which I just find interesting. And my internal and external chatter was constant, especially internally. I was so hypercritical of myself. Silence made me feel uncomfortable, not only with others, but with myself. I could never meditate. Like, meditation was a very strange concept to me back then. And I couldn't sit with myself and my thoughts because my thoughts would never turn off. So, constant chatter. The overactive things for me was like when I was drinking in college, I was just like kind of out of control, is what it felt like. I don't know who I thought I was. My ego was like so insane. So that is my overactive examples. And I'm sure you can probably think of people who do this and just know that like they're going through something where their throat chakra is extremely imbalanced. It's just something to be aware of and to think about. And then when I was reflecting on underactive examples, my throat was very underactive for a very long time. And I was always afraid to speak up, especially when I shared my opinions. Being shut down as a child so much, like the whole concept of children should be seen and not heard mentality, which I'm sure a lot of millennials can relate to, was just like heavy in my household. So just never fully being able to express myself in the way that I wanted to. And I got really good at reading a room and saying and acting the best way to fit in for the environment that I was in. And I've definitely talked about this in the past, but I never felt like I could fully be my authentic self because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. Truthfully, a lot of my life, I didn't really know who I was until I really started to unravel the trauma and what that looked like and how it had inhibited my self-expression. And these overactive and underactive examples, specifically when it comes to like sharing your truth, they are very straightforward. And even though they feel straightforward, there's a big spiritual undertone to them because sharing your expression is a spiritual experience. And the more you share your truth, you'll realize like little synchronicities that match up and things start snowballing in your favor because you are living your own authentic code, if that makes any sense. We're going to get into some rituals and activities to help you align with your truth. And maybe as you start practicing some of these things, you will start to experience those. And if you do, please share them with me because I just think it is so cool seeing people step into their power because I believe your voice is your power. And there is nothing more powerful than authentic self-expression. So let's get into some rituals and activities to help center our throat chakras. Sharing your story and opinions is my first one. As you know, I've talked about in the past with the irreplaceable line, sharing that story, that's the first time I feel like I truly, authentically shared my truth and stood in my power and shared my story. With my sexual trauma, that completely like unlocked the vault of my throat, which may sound dramatic, and I'm not saying to go out there and share your darkest secrets with the world. And there's nothing in shame in doing that either. Even like going to talk therapy if you want to, and sharing your story with a therapist if you don't feel comfortable sharing it with the people in your life. But for me personally, sharing my story with the world and with my family, with my friends, changed my life. And one thing is sharing it with those people in my life at that time was beyond scary. It was the scariest thing I've ever done, but it also put me on my path. It put me on my right path. And I did lose a lot of people in that process, which is sad to think about. Like sharing your truth makes you lose friends or relationships that you thought were real, but it all works out in the end and you're guided towards the correct connections, the more authentic connections, in my opinion. And it's so beautiful. Like when you share your truth, your opinions, your beliefs, your experiences specifically, it will lead you where you are meant to be. It's almost like little breadcrumbs following the yellow brick road of your soul. So I cannot recommend enough sharing your truth, voicing it, even though it is truly one of the scariest things you can do, because you're never sure how people are going to react. But if it's from your soul and your direct truth, nothing bad can come from it. From you internally. You will only grow stronger from sharing your truth. You personally. I can't tell you what other people around you are going to do, because I know from my own personal experience, I was kind of alarmed from other people's reactions to my truth, but I have never been happier because of it. So that's my spiel about sharing your truth. Singing out loud. Even if you have the worst voice in the world, scream singing in the car is one of my favorite things to do. And it is kind of like an energetic release. We say, share your truth. Okay, let's say you have a throat chakra block, but you don't know where it's coming from. You just feel like that egg in your throat. Do you know what I'm talking about? It could just be energy stuck in there. May not even be your energy. It could be from past lives or generational, but there is energy stuck in your throat. Singing your favorite songs in your car or dancing around your house while you're cleaning and singing your favorite songs helps release this stuck, dense energy. Pick your favorite music and sing it as loud as you can, because it will help move that energy in your throat and clear some space. Cannot recommend that enough. My go-tos are like specifically songs from the Now 9 album. Petey Pablo, Raise Up. Love that song. And Sweetie, she's like one of my favorite people ever right now. Next, kind of associated with the singing, but going to and listening to a sound bath, attending a sound bath. I'm not trying to pitch myself here. This is just like hearing is the sense associated with the throat chakra. So any type of higher frequency music, listening to higher frequency music like a sound bath is very healing for the throat chakra. It can help raise that frequency in that space. Journaling. Again, I say this for every single chakra, but journaling is a form of expression. It is such a good way to really narrow down your feelings, your hopes, your wants, your dreams, anything that can help you effectively communicate. It is such a good way to brain dump, and it is such a powerful tool, not only for yourself, like your daily journaling practice, but sometimes if I feel like I cannot fully communicate what I want to say to someone, I will write a letter, especially with Chris. I do this a lot where if I am like really struggling with something in our relationship, I will write him a letter and hand it to him, and then we will have a discussion about it. It is such a powerful tool to really write everything down, because sometimes you may write it down and then read it back and be like, oh, you may see things differently. You may be able to reflect on something before physically stepping into a conversation with someone and then really owning your truth when you finally do have a physical conversation. So journaling and just writing in general is such a powerful tool for the throat chakra. Next, creating art. This is directly tied to the sacral chakra. And I talked about this a little bit earlier, but your sacral chakra and your throat are directly tied. They are forms of expression. Taking your creative inspiration and actually taking time and space to act on that is the most authentic way to express yourself, in my opinion. It is direct connection to source energy and such a beautiful way to make magic. Just love the connection from the sacral to the throat, because sometimes if you don't know how to create the words to express how you feel, you can physically create something with your hands, with your creativity in a different form of expression. I just think that it is such a beautiful way to transmute energy in your throat, maybe emotions that you're feeling that you don't know how to speak out loud. Draw it out, paint it out, dance it out. I just think it's a beautiful form of moving energy in the throat chakra, helping align that energy, expressing yourself in a different way. Then tarot, I put down as a way to help balance. Tarot for me has been such a important tool finding my authentic voice. And I'm not talking about reading tarot for other people. I am talking about maybe incorporating tarot in your journaling practice. I have just found it to be such a beautiful tool for bridging the spiritual and the physical, which is kind of what the throat chakra is, a bridge between the physical and the spiritual, and helping me find my authentic truth in a way that helps me spiritually connect with myself. I just felt so drawn to tarot. So as I'm talking about this, if you're like, that sounds interesting, go buy a tarot deck, learn about it, because you never know how you may open up like a different spiritual world for yourself. The throat chakra is a spiritual chakra, even though it may not directly sound like it. Like I was saying, the more you speak your authentic truth, all these crazy things start to happen, and it is a spiritual experience. So tarot has just been a gateway to magic, truly. And everyone has a different experience. Some people are like, oh my God, tarot's the devil, especially super religious programming. But again, there's polarity to everything. Some people don't use tarot for the right reasons. And it's important to have integrity in what you're doing. So going in with the intention of tapping into your highest truth and pulling cards to learn more about yourself and your authentic expression, I think is a beautiful way to use tarot, especially if you've never used it before. Like pulling one card a day or maybe 3 cards a day. It's just a beautiful tool. Cannot recommend it enough. Next, I have appreciating the sky or wearing the color blue, tapping into like this light blue energy. The element here is the ether, so like space and this more spiritual aspect, and wearing the color blue because that's just fun. And then last, I have enjoying the silence. This could look like traditional meditation if this is something that you're into. But if you are someone who has never meditated before, practicing sitting in silence with yourself and even practicing with other people. If you're someone who feels like you need to talk all the time in situations with others, practice sitting in silence with others and tapping into the feelings that you start to feel as you sit in silence. It's a good way to unpack those things that are blocking the throat chakra. So I think that's a good starting point if you're someone who doesn't like to meditate. But if you do enjoy meditation, doing meditation as more of a daily practice can help you tap into your throat chakra as well. So after you start working on those rituals and activities, hopefully you start to experience more balance within your throat space. So let's talk a little bit about balance. When your throat is open and balanced, we are able to express ourselves fully and authentically. We can speak up and share our opinions without fearing whether we will be accepted or not. You have a true sense of your deepest held beliefs and are able to articulate them. You can voice your needs, desires, and dreams. A profound sense of being heard and understood. You feel valued and you value the expression of others too, which is really important. You tap into your highest truth and speak your truth with love and faith that your truth will lead you onto the right path. We also speak with compassion from our heart center with awareness of the interconnectedness of all guiding our communication, which feels more woo-woo and fun. So a balanced throat chakra, the state of flow, means that you are actively listening to those close to you, to marginalized voices, and also to yourself. We are able to speak up for ourselves and others who are unable to speak for themselves. We have a heightened intuition and trust our gut instincts. We feel creatively free and are able to bring our ideas to fruition. You're able to communicate openly and honestly, strengthening our connections and the pursuit to the greater good, raising the collective frequency here. A balanced throat chakra brings independence, intuition, expression, creativity, understanding, belonging, feelings of value and significance, capacity for listening, and spirituality. And I think it's so fun as you start to work on your throat space, the spiritual experiences you start to have. It's truly so magical. So let's close out with some affirmations. If you feel called to any of these, writing them down on a sticky note, putting them in your planner, on your mirror, in your journal, here are some to help you with your throat space. My voice matters. I speak my truth with love. I express myself with courage and clarity. My words create healing and connection. I am heard, understood, and valued. I listen with patience. I listen without judgment. That last one is important too, listening. Because I didn't talk about that much earlier, but being able to listen without interjecting with your own shit, you know? It's very important, and it's a sign of growth. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you got something out of it. This was our mini lesson for the throat chakra. Tune in next week for our mini meditation on the throat space. See you soon. Visit ablealchemy.com to download your free chakra journal and to learn more about Able Alchemy. This is a place where your dreams and reality align through services like tarot and astrology readings, sound bath sessions, and intuitive branding for businesses looking to align with their manifestations and purpose through soul-led studies such as astrology, business energy analysis, and chakra color theory. Follow along with Able Alchemy on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Please rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.